What's up, YouTube? Outside here looking at the TJ. It's drizzling here in Appalachia today, but I wanted to make a quick video documenting the trouble I got into in this Jeep wheeling last weekend. So first of all, let me show you under the hood here, if I can get this up with one hand. Okay, see how dirty this thing is under the hood, guys. This is how I got it about 6 months ago, and I haven't cleaned it yet. I do kind of feel bad about it. I need to get on that. But basically, I took some time on Saturday and I topped off, checked all the fluids, changed the oil, topped everything off. Felt pretty good about going out wheeling Sunday, right? We went out wheeled Sunday, and we actually hit some pretty challenging trails for me as kind of a new off-roader. Some stuff that definitely got the adrenaline pumping, made me a little nervous. We had a blast. We wheeled for like 5 or 6 hours, and this thing, I just got to tell you, it impressed me all around. I disconnected the sway bars on the front. I hadn't rode with the sway bars disconnected yet, and that was an entirely different ride. It rode way more like a side-by-side, and I absolutely loved it. 25 psi in the tires. I never even aired down for off-road because I didn't have a real good air compressor on me to air back up when we were done. So I just left them at 25 psi and they did fine. So I was literally going down the interstate at 75 miles an hour, sway bar disconnected on the front, 25 psi in the tires, and this thing was fine. And I just never realized I'd be able to do that in a Jeep like this. So I was impressed, giving it major props. And then what happens? We break down on the way home. So thank gosh it wasn't back in the woods. It was on the interstate, about 20 minutes from home, 30 minutes from home. But basically what happened is I started to smell something burning, and then I started to get smoke coming through my cab. And then it stopped. And Mason was behind me in his Jeep, and he said, something just fell off your Jeep. And that's when my steering felt a little weird, and we knew it through a belt. Luckily, I was right at an exit, and I was able to get off the exit right as I completely lost power steering, parked the wrong direction down a one-way street. Luckily parked in front of a gentleman's house whose son's a Jeeper, and we had some mutual friends and stuff like that. So it was a really nice guy and kind of helped us. Mason went a couple auto parts stores, finally found a belt. We changed the belt right there in front of the gentleman's house. Now, we thought what the reason was that it threw the belt was because of this chunk that's out of the power steering pulley right here. So we thought, okay, we'll just put another belt on and we'll be good to go. Just to limp it home at least. So we put another belt on, and we made it probably 10 more miles, maybe a little more, and it threw another belt. And when we got out, after it threw the other belt, let me see if I got it in here. That's when we noticed what the real problem was. The passenger side idler pulley was completely seized to the point that it just threaded the bolt back out and bent the bolt and stuff. You can see it was starting to actually blue on the top there. So yeah, this Jeep has 310,000 miles on it, but I was told the engine only has 120, and I should have done my due diligence and put a new serpentine belt on it and checked the pulleys and stuff. But for some reason, I'm just used to these new vehicles. You know, all these new vehicles, the belts seem to last forever. You just don't even think about them. And so I didn't on this one, and you know, it burned me. So not only was that idler pulley seized, but when the first belt got chewed up, if you can see down in there, it junked the gear tensioner pulley. So plus I need the power steering pulley with the chunk out of it, so I've got to replace 3 pulleys. What I was really surprised about is I could get all 3 of those pulleys on Amazon and a belt for like 89 bucks. That is surprising to me. I couldn't believe how cheap this stuff was. So that's the next deal, is replace all 3 of those pulleys, put a new belt on it, and for heaven's sakes, guys, I need to spray some cleaner on here and clean this thing up. This mud's been on here for a long time, but just want to let you guys know what happened. After we destroyed that pulley, Then there was no getting it home, so we had to get someone with a car dolly and dolly this thing home. We didn't have to go very far, because from what I understand, you can't really safely tow these with a car dolly without taking out the rear drive shaft. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, as far as like lubrication and stuff in the transfer cases. But we didn't have very far to go, so we did it. However, this is the first time I had to get towed home, but I've had other issues that were all mostly my own faults. Bolts falling out of track bars and sway bars and steering stabilizers. And if I've learned one thing, is that, guys, I got to get a car hauler ready to haul this Jeep. I got to be able to, you know, no matter where it breaks down at, just get up there with my truck. I've already got the truck, so why not just have a trailer that I can just go pick up this Jeep if I need to. So project coming up soon will be this old equipment trailer over here. It's going to take some work, some sanding, some paint, some revamping of the floor. It's actually got a tree growing through it, but yeah, I think we can revamp it and make a heck of a Jeep hauler out of this thing. So stay tuned for that project. Overall, I just want to reiterate that I cannot believe how amazing these old Jeeps ride with the sway bars disconnected. And I haven't even disconnected the rear yet. I've got some rough country quick disconnects coming, but yeah, just makes it way more fun. It's way more like a side-by-side, doesn't jar you. I really love it. So all right, guys, just a little update. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Ever since I've had this Jeep, it's had an oil pressure gauge issue, and the previous owner told me that it wasn't the oil pressure wasn't the problem. He had a mechanic check it. I assume he checked it with a different oil, like a manual oil pressure gauge, and the oil pressure's staying up fine, but the gauge, you know, it'll sometimes drop. I've read that that's a pretty common problem with the oil pressure sending unit going bad, which can be found down here somewhere beside the oil filter. So ordered one of those too, and man, look at that shock, it's leaking so bad. But gonna go ahead and change out that oil pressure sending unit and make a quick video on that. There's already a few out there, but you know, I like to make my own. So all right, guys, the TJ $3,800 Jeep, freaking digging this thing, love it. See you in the next video.